Hi, this is the Midweek Update for the First United Methodist Church of Normal, Illinois, and I'm Pastor Kent King Nobles. You know, I was just sitting here thinking, you look like you could use a celebration, some kind of party. Well, this Friday is a good time to do that. June 19th is the day to celebrate Juneteenth, which we've been talking about at the church a little bit. So, time for you to start thinking about how you're going to celebrate on Friday. We will be sending out some information from the church, a short ritual you can do to go along with your party, so you can look for that information coming on the website or on an email coming out to you later in the week. But here's what you need to do. Think about what kind of celebration you want to have. Maybe you want to go on the internet, do a little research about what Juneteenth is all about, how people celebrate, figure out what kind of red drink you're going to have. Barbecue is a good traditional food. For us vegetarians, barbecue jackfruit is pretty good, so that's an option for you to consider. But Friday is a good chance to celebrate, to feel that kind of bittersweetness of the freedom coming late, but also of freedom and working toward freedom. So I'm looking forward to that celebration on Friday. Hope you will do that also. Hey youth, Friday after your family celebration, the youth are going to be meeting at the church for a movie in the parking lot. So that'll be around 9 o'clock. You can come on up and join the youth there 9 till around 10:30 when the movie gets over. So that'll be a fun opportunity too. Let's see, we do have the fundraiser coming up again, Noisy Offering. That will be not this Saturday, but the next Saturday on June 27th from 10 to 11. So if you don't have that on your calendar, June 27th, 10 to 11, Noisy Offering. In just a minute, I'm going to be having a conversation with Eve Chandler. We're just asking some people to give us their reflections on what's going on in our nation, on the death of Mr. George Floyd, and on the protest afterwards, and kind of what their thoughts are about what it means to be a Christian living in this time, and what their reflections are on race and racial justice. So that conversation is about 20 minutes, and Eve and I will just be visiting a little bit. I think you'll find it interesting. So stay tuned, and I look forward to worshiping with you this weekend. Have a great week. Hello, I'm Pastor Kent. I'm here with my friend Eve Chandler. Of course, Eve is a member of our church. You've been a member of the church for many years. How long?
Oh, 5 or
6 years?
Yeah.
And of course, everyone that knows Eve loves her at the church. She sings in the choir. She takes care of a lot of plants, and just a great person. We appreciate her enthusiasm, her compassion. And Eve has agreed to answer a few questions for me as we think about race and things going on in the country. I just wondered what Eve's feelings were, and so I thought it'd be good. We'd just come over and have a conversation. And Eve has made some delicious tea.
Welcome to our house.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here and to drink tea with you. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to ask a few questions, and Eve, you can share whatever you want to share. So the first question I've been asking people is, how did you experience the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis?
When the picture I saw, I was confused. I didn't understand what was going on, and then I realized there was a person on the ground, and there's a knee. And that image just etched in my head, and I was horrified when I saw what's going on. I thought about two things. It's funny enough. I thought about George's mother. It's heartbreaking. You know, every person is a little baby, and and the other thing is that need. I always associate needs with praying. And here, this need is hurting God's creation. And I was troubled. I was confused by that image, you know. So I'm sure it affects many people too.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure has. Well, and then the protests that came after that and are still going on, what have your thoughts been about the protests?
I understand. I totally understand. The only thing I hope is all the protesters have enough discipline to do it peacefully, because all the lootings and that image of looting and burning, those images are not going to help their cause. But basically, you are throwing bricks to those who opposed this fair treatment to all. You're helping them to build grounds, because those images is really counterproductive, unfortunately. Gandhi's follower.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, so that you are blameless when you are pursuing. It take courage and take discipline to not to do it violently.
Okay.
And that is hard. Sometimes that's hard, And I can understand why. If I can do it, I don't know if somebody hurt my son, would I be able to do it that way? The Gandhi's way? I don't know. But I understand the protests. Yeah.
So what do you hope will come out of all of these protests and the emphasis right now? I mean, do you think something lasting will come out, or what do you hope will come out of all this?
I hope no mother needs to talk to her son about how to interact with law enforcement. I have a couple co-workers who are African American women, and they share with me ever since they had their little boys, they always have this little talk.
Yeah.
And I never need to have that kind of talk with our son. So that's my wish, is that no mother needs to have that little talk with their son.
Yeah. Now you yourself, you were born where?
In Taiwan.
In Taiwan. So do you think of yourself as Asian American, or I mean, do you find labels like that helpful or not helpful, or how do you think of yourself, and how do you wish we would talk about people in this country?
You heard about the term white privilege. I concocted a term called yellow privilege. I'm the benefactor, because Asian Americans are called model minority. And so I came to this country, actually I didn't do anything, but people already treat me fairly well. And my presence posed no threat to anybody. They had no fear of me, because all the other previous Asian Americans, that they work hard and build this reputation. So I'm the benefactor of that. And that's my wish for everyone and anyone, that when they show up, the first impression is not fear, but acceptance. And we have work to do, obviously, because honestly, when I was a few years back, I was working in the yards, and here there was this car stopped by in our front yard, and African American man show up and walk towards me. I honestly was just instinctively alarmed. And the poor kid, it's just a kid, teenager kid, and he flipped his t-shirt, and I saw him a belly button. I flipped over and said, "Look, no weapon." And then thinking back, it's really heartbroken. Why a child need to do that to ensure I'm harmless? And he came to me and he said, "Do you have work for me? I just like to help out." And I said, "Unfortunately, my husband and I, right now, we don't need extra help. And so you may want to ask my neighbor," and says, "Go." And so he went ahead and asked but that was me. That kind of fear is not fair to him. And not fair to anyone. Because fear really causes a lot of people behave funny.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, and I'm getting better now. You know?
Where do you think that fear comes from?
I think it's somehow you pick up from probably media report.
From the culture and
You read Pandagraph, this Crime Stoppers, and you saw these pictures. And somehow just absorb those things. Mm-hmm. But I'm getting better now. You know, I probably, as I'm older, and I learn a lot of things, and I have friends in my life who are of different races. So I'm hoping that people learn just along the way, so make it better.
Yeah. What do you think of the term persons of color? I've heard you mention this before, so I wanted you to share what your thought is about that term, persons of color.
That's why I get this ready.
Okay.
I don't like the term because you can see.
You can show the.
You can see this is a palette, watercolor palette. My watercolor very simple. White is a color, black is color, and yellow is also a color. And when you paint, you need all colors. You cannot do without any one of this. And you look at the people, you know, white people are not really white.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not exactly white, you're not exactly yellow.
And black people are not exactly yellow.
Or black or,
so, why use that term? And especially you kind of refer to just people of different races from the white color. And I always prefer people of a different race. And I know it's a little bit mouthful, but I think it's a better, avoiding referring to color, because people are so much more than just the color, skin of their color.
So I guess you're saying when you say person of color, white is kind of the standard, like it's not a color, but everything else that's different is a color. And you're saying all of us have different colors.
People of colors, everyone.
Yeah.
Unless you're transparent. It's everyone, Yeah. So I myself avoid using that term. But I can understand why, because that is a kind of a passed down, So the terms of no importance is how you treat others. That's more important.
More important than what you say. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, have you yourself experienced racism? I would assume that there are prejudices that people bring and assume about you before they get to know you, or.
Yes, I want to say yes, but it's obvious, but I've been living in the country for majority of my life, and I've been treated very well. A few times, I don't like to go there, saying that you discriminate me. That person may have a bad day. That morning, he may have heard something that I don't like to go there. Okay. So there was only one time, I suspect it was the case. I was traveling, we were vacationing in one of the national parks in the south, and we were in the visitor centers, and the person who are helping us with the visitor guide and all that, she was very friendly to all these people in front of us. Suddenly, it was my turn, and she was very professional, but she was not friendly.
No.
Yes, no smile, just, what do you need, I'll give you, and to speak on. So, and I suspect so. Does it bother me? Did it bother me back then? Yes. It was really not a good feeling. Mm-hmm. But Gandhi says something about, I would not let anybody tread my soul with their dirty feet without my permission. You know, you can let it go and shift the focus on something positive. You know, people, that's that person's problem, not my problem. You know, so, and think about, I lived in the country for more than 40 years. And if that's just one incident, I think it's pretty good.
Okay.
It's pretty good. But I don't know about African Americans. You know, it's just my own experience.
Your experience. Yeah.
Yes.
Good point. Yeah. A lot of parents are thinking about what they should be doing these days to teach their children, what kind of conversations they should be having. Of course, you know, some of the kids are watching bits and pieces of the news and wondering what's going on. Do you have any thoughts on how parents could help their children during this time?
Ask questions. And kids are amazing. Just asking, how do you feel if you were treated that way? Mm-hmm. Or get a book. And that's how my parents taught us. It's always refer to the media report or the book, and then they ask questions and let you think through. And so, but the best way is having someone invite a little friend of a different race. Just have that interaction. I have one Muslim co-worker, and she helped me understand her world, her background. It's firsthand. Mm-hmm. And I discovered she had no difference from me. You know, she worked hard, care for the family, need support, need care, need love. It's no difference from me. And that's the best education, is growing up with somebody who seems to be different. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. We're having some conversation in the church about what we can do in the church to welcome people of all different races, to have a church where diversity is welcomed. How do you experience our church? I mean, do you have any thoughts on what we should be doing to
I love our church, and that's why I never feel different. I'm just very, I want to say I'm very lucky. But I noticed it's all leaderships that set the tone and atmosphere, ambience of the place. That you lead by your words, by your actions, and people go through. Jenna leads with her words and actions, and that permeates, affect everyone. We love Sam in the choir, you know, and
Elizabeth.
Yes,
Elizabeth from Ghana. Yeah.
Sam, myself, you know, even Mrs. Smith.
Yeah.
You know, we are all different, but that's a first glance. But when you get to know them, they're just Sam. Mm-hmm. They're just Elizabeth. Mm-hmm. You know, and once you get to know them, you don't seem to see the difference. Mm-hmm. So our country needs that kind of leadership, from my point of view, to set that atmosphere for the whole place. I don't want to go there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So do you have any other thoughts about what, as a Christian, what we should be doing right now in our community?
I don't know. I know I encourage myself as a person. As Jesus taught me to wash feet. He didn't say wash white person's feet only. He says wash feet. It's to serve others. Mm-hmm. Now, serve others is never specified. Others means other than me, right? Mm-hmm. So that's very clear. And so you just focus on how to serve. My life is so much easier. You just, focus on how to think who needs my help, who needs me to write a little card to her or him. if you have that kind of thinking, and I'm just doing my little part, but you're doing your little part, and as a church, we can be very powerful. It all comes together. Yes.
Yeah. That's a good reminder when I think about all the people Jesus related to. There are lots of different kinds of people from different cultures that show up in the Gospels, and Jesus related to all of them wherever they were from.
And some people said Jesus may be a dark-skinned person. We never know. It doesn't matter. The color is really, if I feel like I'm ill-treated or mistreated, I always think of him, because why should he die for me? Why should he serve when he could just wiggle his nose, everything will be gone? That kind of spirit stay with me, and I try to live my life per that kind of guidance. So my life is simple. I go to work, I come home, I go grocery shopping, I come home. But whoever I am blessed to meet, I try to help. And if that focus is like that, no one, I feel like I'm very powerful in a way, so that's the simple life I endeavor to pursue.
Good. So. Anything else you want to share?
Yeah, I want to say something about the law enforcement, the police officers. Okay. They are consisted of various races, gender, orientation. They're human beings too. I want to thank them and their family, because every day they put their life on the front line. One traffic stop may cost their life. I cannot imagine my husband or my son, and there's just so much report. I mean, it's not a very good reports about them, but majority of them are good officers in keeping us safe and helpful, caring people. And I just want people to realize that, and they deserve our appreciation too. Okay.
All right, well, thank you for sharing this tea with me and for sharing your wisdom and insights with us. And it's good to be in your church family.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Yes.
I also want to thank everyone who's taken the time to watch this interview and to listen. Let's continue to listen. Let's continue to be in conversation. God bless you.